Let's start off with stories, of course, in Nigeria, where we understand that 5 commissioners serving in the cabinet of Governor Siminalayi Fubara have resigned from the Rivers State Executive Council. They were among the 9 commissioners who had previously resigned in the heat of the political crisis in the state before the intervention of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, their resignation comes barely 24 hours after Fubara slammed his predecessor, talking about wike, and his estranged political godfather, accusing him of leaving a huge debt burden for him to inherit. Well, to make sense of this and, of course, to broaden a scope further, I'm joined on the program by Darlington Orji, former Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Rivers State, and also George Brown, Public Affairs Analyst. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me on the program.
Yeah, good evening. How are you today?
Good evening. Thank you for joining, George. Darlington, are you there?
How are you doing?
Very well.
Thanks for having me.
Great. All right, let me stay with you. Great. Let me stay with you, George, for now. Now, what is happening in Rivers State looks like a bottomless pit with no, will I call it, a solution or light anytime soon. I'd like to know your immediate opinion first before we dig in deep.
Well, Dapo, rivers of possibilities. That's what it is. Rivers of possibilities.
In what context?
We are about, yes. Rivers State is about to be delivered from a yoke that has never been tied on the necks of the Rivers people. There can never be a Godfather in Rivers State. That's never happened, and it will not happen today. Neither will it happen tomorrow. What is the sin of Governor Sim? That's the question begging for answers, and nobody has been able to give us answers to that question. What are the sins of Mr. Sim? Or what is the sin of Mr. Sim? We've not been able to get answers to that question.
But I'm sorry to interject, but I think the former governor, talking about wike, who is now the minister of the FCT, has sort of hinted on that. He said it doesn't respect structure.
What is the structure? Is Wike saying that his one vote made Sim governor? What about the votes of the people of Rivers State? Did the people of Rivers State not vote? Is he saying he rigged Sim in? Let him come out and tell the world that he rigged Sim in and our votes didn't count. The votes of Rivers people did not count. How can one man become so bellicose as though he alone made someone a governor? How can you be so proud to publicly declare that you made someone a governor? Where are the voters? Where are the voters? This is just a macabre dance in the public square. It's so shameful. Rivers people are quintessentially decent people. What you see these people display is not a true reflection of the Rivers man. We are decent and clean people. These people are displaying to the world as though we're a bunch of lawless people. We are decent people. This is the same thing that happened in Anambra State when the Uba brothers brought in Mbadinoju, and after that, he left, and they went and brought in the former minister for labor, Ngige. And when Ngige turned around and refused to do their bidding, they kidnapped him. He was kidnapped. The first sitting governor in the history of this country to be kidnapped while in office. That's crass lawlessness. We have outgrown that stage in this democracy. And these people will come out and begin to tell the world that he is an ingrate. He is biting the finger that fed him. Is Wike the owner of Rivers State? Is he the owner of this state? What about the votes of the people of Rivers State? Where are the votes of the people of Rivers State? We can never have such kind of charlatans here in this state. It will never work. It can never work. He even said it himself in one of those his many bellicose outrage when he said it is not possible to have a godfather in Rivers State. He owned up and he said it publicly. And that's the fact. And that's what you see playing out.
Well, sorry, George. Talking about many of the things the former governor said, as in Wike, what he said recently is that he admits he has made a mistake and he will correct it soon. I mean, my question to you is this. We are beginning to see I'm talking about the current governor right now, governor, that's Fubara, that seems lately very vocal and emboldened. For many, when this whole crisis started, they couldn't really place who exactly the governor was in terms of his personality. But it looks like the governor recently has been making very bold and upfront statements. Even went as far as saying he will probe the administration of his predecessor. I would like to know, what kind of a person does this reveal of the current governor, Fubara?
Okay, let's take it this way. The governor must have been trusted by Wike before Wike insists amongst his people to project him to stand for election and get the ticket of the PDP. He must have proven over time to be someone that is prepared and capable. And above all, trusted by him. If he had not trusted him, he will not support him to win the ticket of the PDP. So it means that the man comes with a lot. He comes with some competence. And above all, the man has been able to demonstrate, Sim has been able to demonstrate restraint. And that is one key critical characteristic lacking in a lot of political leaders in third world countries. Abuse of power is so rampant amongst third world political leaders. But he has been able to exercise restraint, and he has been insulted and vilified to the extent that LGA chairmen that were literally servants to Wike could come out in public and call the governor names. They're not denigrating the man called Sim Fubara. They're denigrating the office of the governor. That's what they're doing. They have no respect for that office. If they had respect for that office, they won't come dragging the governor in public, calling him names, singing songs, making jest of him. Now the governor is beginning to prove to them that he has powers. And he's just using only one of his powers, I think, amongst the whole litany of powers that he has. He's just using only one, and they're already cringing. He said he's going to probe them. He's going to probe the administration. And probing of the administration is not out of place. Amechi constituted the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, kind of, under late Justice Kayode Shaw. He did that. Wike came and put together a administrative panel of inquiry against Amechi. And the same thing is happening to Wike. So what is basically going to happen is we're going to have a scenario in Rivers State where Wike will be put on the spotlight. His actions while in office, his activities while in office will be put on the spotlight. We're going to dissect the 8 years of his administration and see truly, forensically, how did he fare? Forget the flyovers and the few renovation of schools he did here and there. Amechi built a minimum of one school, world-class primary school in each political ward of the state.
Okay. George Brown, you've been able to highlight quite a number of things. Talking about the probe, we also know that during Wike's administration, Fubara was actually the accountant general of the state. So, if you're talking about a state in debt, you as the chief financial officer, the question some are also asking is, doesn't that also indict you? But let me invite Darlington Orji, the former publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party, to this conversation. Darlington, thank you for joining me. Let's start off with your thoughts on what is going on in Rivers State. It looks like day by day we keep seeing different drama unfold. The latest being resignation of some members of cabinet of the governor. And only God knows what tomorrow holds. But let me know your immediate reaction.
Well, thank you for having me and bringing me on board to make some clarifications to the recent happening in the political highlight of Rivers State. The resignations of some of the commissioners in Rivers State, for me, it is long overdue. When you work in an environment that is no longer conducive and safe for you by your own perception and belief, like some of them have written in their letters, that the environment is toxic. Why wouldn't the environment be toxic for you when the immediate past governor of Rivers State has told us that loyalty is 100%, there is nothing like 99%. And most of them worked in the formal administration. And today, you decided to dualize your loyalty or decided to pledge your loyalty in two forms. For us, it is not a news in Rivers State because as long as we are concerned, you cannot, as a government, work with moles. You heard the governor say the other day that he's working with commissioners that are deliberately sabotaging his government. How can governors be in how can commissioners be in a protest against the sitting governor? How can commissioners that attend cabinet meeting will come back to claim ignorance of whatever thing that is happening? You can't work with your enemies. It is proven so far that the allegiance is not to Rivers people, rather it is to an individual. And it's worrisome at this time in 21st century that people will take oath of office and they will differ from the oath of office they took. So for us, the resignation we saw today is a welcome development, and Rivers people are celebrating because it is expected. But for the government of Rivers State, we are focused, we are properly directed, we are moving forward to the glory of God to make sure that all the electionary promises and campaign promises we made to Rivers people are being kept, which is the primary target. Who should we be loyal to, Rivers people or individual? The governor is loyal to Rivers people. That is why he would be able to declare that he met 12 billion IGR, and today we are on 27 billion. That governor must be applauded. So forget the drama that is happening. In the coming days, things will unfold, and you will appreciate it more.
All right. I mean, talking about things unfolding, maybe I should just take your reaction to this. Now, the governor has actually stated that he would probe the previous administration, the previous governor. But like I mentioned earlier, under the former governor, wike, the current governor, that's Fubara, was actually the state's accountant general of the state. And of course, he held that position till he became governor. Now, he's saying he wants to probe his former administration. I mean, won't we have a situation whereby indirectly he's also indicting himself?
No, Dapo. It takes only someone that is within a system to change a system. You cannot change a system from the outside. You must be part of a system to be able to change a system.
But how can you change a system when, I'm sorry, but how can you change a system when maybe you are part of the situationship the system is in at the moment?
Okay, talking about the situationship, I made allusion to the fact that he was trusted even while in that system. He was trusted. He was above par in that system. Even among thieves, there are honorable people. So he was trusted, and he is coming out now as someone that was part of it to tell the world how it was. If he has anything to hide, he will not go this route. If he is dirty, he will not go this route. He knows everything that ever happened financially, and that is why he's coming out to say all this, that he wants to go this route of probing the administration. And I think the EFCC should even commend him. Governor Sim is worthy to be commended.
Okay.
He is the first governor, yes, he is the first governor in this country to probe a predecessor. I stand to be corrected. He should be commended.
Well, talking about the EFCC, sometime in May 2022, Fubara and 58 other government officials were declared wanted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for a 435 billion naira fraud case. I mean, it was also wanted for about 117 billion naira fraud alongside 4, other River State officials. Now, my question is this. Maybe I should go to Darlington on this one. I will still insist. Is it possible to go this route without having to also shoot yourself at some point?
Say again. What did you say again? I can't hear you.
Okay, the governor said he was going to probe the previous administration, which, of course, he was part of as the state's chief financial officer. So my question is, can he go this route without having to also shoot himself in the foot?
Well, that is why I started by saying that Nigeria should applaud such a person that is ready to subject himself to proof and all of that. Remember, the Accountant General is not the chief accounting officer of a state. The chief accounting officer of the state is the governor of Rivers State or of a state who is saddled with the responsibility of managing the resources and affairs of the state where he governs. In this case, President Governor Siminalayi Fubara was the Accountant General and is ready to provide answers where necessary. Remember that the former president of Nigeria, President Obasanjo, subjected himself to a panel that he set up. So this is not going to be exceptional. I think that Nigerians should applaud a man that said,
Darlington, if you can hear me, we've lost your audio. We're unable to actually hear you. So maybe while, of course, we try to connect with you, on that level, let me go back to George Brown on this one. Now, George, right now, the governor has also, one of his, many talks or speeches recently, he said he's been, okay, I think I understand we have Darlington back. Darlington, please, you might want to land on your thought. Okay, I understand that we are still trying to connect with Darlington. Let me stay with you, George. Now, the governor, in one of his many public talks, actually did say he's been working with around enemies, people that, has been treading on very thin ice. And right now we are beginning to see the lines, demarcation being clear. I mean, what does this reveal in the coming weeks, particularly as regards his, number one, function as a governor and the sole administrator of a state? We know that he's about to, of course, mark 100 years in terms of achievement and also being governor and all of that, and managing this internal crisis.
Okay. The governor, like I said, should be commended for going the route of probing the previous administration. He should be commended for that. But it's also a circle. Is a circle. I'm tempted to even say it's a karmic circle. So I just hope it doesn't go round and round and we prop another monster in Mr. Sim tomorrow, because Wike is a creation of the Rivers people. The Rivers people were celebrating Wike when he was demolishing houses during COVID. The people were celebrating him when he went to the boundary between Akwa Ibom and Rivers State and stopped some expatriates that wanted to fly through Port Harcourt. He went to the airport and also did the same thing. When he was acting all those dramas, the people of Rivers State were nudging him. The people of Rivers State are used to strong men being their leaders, because Rivers people are strong people. And now we have a governor who appeared not to be strong, but we're beginning to understand that he is indeed stronger. He is not a weakling in any way. And that is why even his former boss, Mr. Wike, has come out to say, fear quiet people. People, when they talk, fear them. So the governor should be commended. The governor is doing what the Rivers people want. The administration of Wike should be probed. We should be able to know his activities. What happened? The governor was just a cashier, so to speak. He's not the one that generates disburse. He's not the one that generates expenditure. He only disburses based on instruction. He's just a cashier. That's what he is. That was the office he was occupying. So he knows the details. He knows the financials. He knows the bottom line. So for such a person coming out today to say, I want to probe the activities of the previous administration, because the greatest challenge that we have at the moment is that of debts. All these projects that were being commissioned in the past, and we're hearing Mr. Project, and he was even calling himself project. That's what he was calling himself. Now we are beginning to know that those projects were not all paid for. They were paid for in parts. Now he even deceived the people of Rivers State when he was leaving, boldly in public as he does, that he never left any debt, that everything he's leaving behind, he's leaving the state in a sound financial footing and all that. We will get to know the truth now. And this is God at work. This is God at work. Let me tell Nigerians and the world and the listening public, nothing will happen to Governor Fubara. You can take that to the bank. These people that are talking, they are just all people that are drowning. Their time has come full circle. In Rivers politics, when Odili left and Rotimi Amechi came, he came with a new set. He came with a new generation of leaders. And when he left, Wike did an admixture of the old and the new, the not so old and the very new and the not so new. So he did an admixture. Now that we now have a new governor, and the governor is younger than all previous governors, it means that it is a generational shift of governance in Rivers State. All the people that that he appointed so far, they are not chiefs of the old block. They are all entirely new people. He's a civil servant. His primary constituency is Rivers State, or his main constituency is the civil service, and he's running the government using the civil service structure, the civil service administrative structure. He's running the government using the permanent secretaries, and that is why all those commissioners are nothing but just figureheads, and that is why they are resigning, because they basically don't have anything doing. So if you're in their shoes, won't you resign when you're just sitting down there doing nothing? They're just figureheads. He's running the state with those people. He just did the groundbreaking of a road project from somewhere in Elele to Omok, I guess. And that project, for the first time in the last 8 years, that project was advertised in the newspapers for all contractors that are interested, for interested companies to bid. And the bid was opened a minute after 12 noon. A minute after 12 noon. The closing was 12 noon. The analysis for the bid was open a minute after 12 noon. And notices were sent to all contractors that bidded to come. And it was done transparently. Who signed it? It was not signed by the Commissioner for Works. It was signed by the PEMSEC of the Ministry for Works. So we're beginning to see some level of transparency. We're beginning to see some level of compliance to public procurement rules as established by the government.
Anyway,
so
I mean, George,
we are beginning to see in Rivers State. Okay, let me even take your mind back.
Okay.
Let me take the mind of our listeners back. In the last 8 years, we never saw our budget being graphically displayed as it was this year. Our budget in Rivers State has always been opaque. They've never been graphically displayed. But for the first time, we're having that.
Well, George Brown, let me leave you for a while. Let me leave you for a while, George. Let me go back to Darlington. Darlington, we are seeing a governor that, in the words of George Brown, that people thought was quiet. But right now we are seeing a governor that, is bold and, of course, making loud statements and challenging what people might consider the political norm in the state. My question to you is this. He even went as far as instructing that the House, relocates their seating, to the administrative quarters somewhere in the government house there. Now, my question to you is this. Does the current governor have the wits to sustain this drive, this effrontery, this strength, show of strength that, of course, we've seen Governor Siminalayi Fubara exhibit in recent times, given the political trajectory of the Minister of the FCT, Wike? Please, can you unmute your device?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, I said let me correct the way I'm addressed. I'm the special advisor of political affairs and strategy to the governor of Rivers State, by the grace of God. And moving forward, talking about the
duly
political
noted,
trajectory of the former governor of Rivers State and FCT minister, I can tell you for free that you can never be facing today or is having today is what they call organic movement. You know, when the people are tired of a particular situation and a scenario, if people are your slaves, as you so claim, and you call them slaves, when they turn their back on you, you will understand. So I want to align myself completely with my brother on the other side, Mr. George, or Barrister George. I don't know how it's been addressed, but I want to align myself completely. Let me tell you, the governor of Rivers State has all it takes to withstand whatever pressure that will come from any quarters. History has it that the governors of Rivers State has always been very powerful. But in this case, you have a man who has moved politics from vindictiveness, harassment, intimidation, molestation, trump-up charges, and said, look, we can move to a table and have our discussions. That disagreements are allowed in a family, but it shouldn't be taken to the extreme end. We are serving local government chairmen, we come up and call a sitting governor names, and he kept quiet. My dear brother, in a local world, we just tell you that the governor is just passing. In just they pass, and I pass way in the past. That he just passed River State Assembly quarters, and you can see the reaction of the people. Talk less of when he will begin to exercise his powers. But he has powers he waived under the Constitution to victimize his people. That is to bring more dividends of democracy to our people. And that's why you can see what they refer to as the revolving loan of 4 billion naira for the use of River State. My brother, I bring to your notice that the governor is not distracted. If the governor is distracted, we will not have 20 projects lined up to commission and flag up. Like yesterday, we went to commission the Aleto Obori Old Road. Tomorrow, we are going to flag off a project in Ifere. They call it Ele, Ebeda, and Omok Road, traversing over 27 kilometers of road. This is not a noise-making governor. It's a governor that is prudent in managing the resources of the people, and he talk less and act more. So for us, don't bother whether he has the strength, he has God. And Bible has made us to understand that he who has God has majority. He may not have all it takes. He may not have the harassing environment. He may not be that type that speaks so much, but his actions, one is one. And for us, let me tell you for free, I don't know what you are hearing, I don't know what you are perceiving. Rivers people are behind this governor. And that is why from local government 1 to 22, that we have done our Thanksgiving remaining element, you will see what they call natural mammoth crowd. For the people, we are not in artificial business or trade business. Don't push a man that does not talk to the extreme, because when he gets there, it will be difficult. The governor of Rivers State carrying out project
right.
It is historic. And she set up a pro panel. We can set up a pro panel. Fubara is not doing anything different.
All right, Darlington.
The only thing different is that people will say,
Darlington, thank you so much.
And he said he's ready to provide answers.
Darlington, thank you.
Arises. So for us, we are comfortable. We have mandated him to take decision on our behalf of our people, and he's doing that, and we are comfortable with it.
All right, Darlington, thank you so much. But we need to, of course, switch, from the first half, of course, to the next half of the program. But gentlemen, Darlington Orji, of course, from Rivers State, and George Brown, Public Affairs Analyst, joining me on this program. Thank you, gentlemen, once again for your time, and we hope for the best for Rivers State.